Hey, welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. I'm going to do a general message for Virgo again. Know that energy is fluid. Roles can be reversed. Always interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Now, if you're new to the channel, know I like to dive deep within my readings. So I do look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, see how they play out as karmic themes within your experience. And if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, you need to like the video, subscribe to the channel, obviously be open to getting a shadow reading, and write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video is always the underlining energy that tells me why everyone's doing what they're doing. So let's jump right on in and see what is going on within your situation. Okay, abandonment. Funny, I feel like not until you left a person did they actually really start to think about how they treated you and how important you are to them. I feel like when you were around this person, they triggered your abandonment because they wouldn't give you the time. I feel like this is a very spiritual connection, but it's also one that's really difficult. And I feel like it's difficult because you have a lot of trauma and so does your person. And so, but the core of it to me both stems from inner child wounds of abandonment. And abandonment doesn't always mean to be left, it could mean emotionally not there. And so there's this underlining energy that I feel like neither one of you like to show your emotions. Neither one of you like to be vulnerable. Like I feel like both parties are alpha. You know, you could be a woman and be alpha just because you've always been on your own. You've always had to do everything yourself. Even if you have been married before, even if you've been in relationships, again, abandonment is a theme. And that karmic theme um, plays out until we actually integrate it. So, like I said, I feel like there is a connection here. There is I want to say love from what both parties feel that love is, but I don't really feel like anyone's put in enough energy or effort because neither party wants to be the vulnerable one. So again, abandonment. And when the thing is with abandonment, what behaviorisms come with abandonment is no one puts in enough energy. No one speaks their truth. Usually both parties wear masks because I don't really want to show you all of me. I shadows are what the spiritual wounds are. Abandonment, we perceived at one point was because we weren't good enough. That if you loved us, you would have stayed, right? I mean, that's the perception from a child, the way that they view things. So if a parent doesn't show up, that's what they see. So that there's a sense of both parties wanting to be perfect. Both parties feel flawed. So I feel like you're connected to someone that has the same wounds that you do. And the way that you both deal with it is kind of the same way. So the relationship isn't moving. However, there's a very strong spiritual connection where relationships happening is just not happening it's not happening in the physical realm, it's happening in the astral realm. I think you're beautiful inside and out. I see the light that radiates from you. So again, your person can't help but to be drawn to you. You again, there's a comfort in there. They want to be vulnerable with you. That's the thing. there's a desire for them to be vulnerable, and they don't want to be. As I feel like there's a desire for you to let down your guard. I feel like you have like wall up, like almost like you have to like prove yourself before you make it past this this line. Like you have that up, and there's a sense of you not really wanting to have that wall up with this person. I feel our energy merging together as it has a life of its own. We are becoming one again. So if you have been with this person, you already know what the energy is. It's again very in the spiritual realm. Remember, on the physical plane, both parties have a lot of spiritual blocks, and the relationship really hasn't even gotten off the ground. But if you've been with this person, it might have been, hey, we hung out a few times and there's a lot of chemistry, there's a lot of passion. However, it's like due to the blocks, you triggered each other, right? Abandonment will do that because what happens is that when we don't heal it, we tend to become paranoid. We can be jealous. We can look for problems in the relationship. And I feel like your person did that to you. And I feel like you would do it also to them. And so there's a little bit of mirroring energy back and forth here. So one can trigger the other. So this type of relationship can go really toxic really fast because there is a lot of love, there is a lot of passion, but there's also a lot of wounds. And if we try and control the relationship isn't going to get better. Remember, you can't get a good result with fear. We have to always come from a place of unconditional love. I'm afraid this relationship is too good to be true, and I pull away in fear because, again, it hasn't been healed. Um, Past relationships, when we don't heal, what happens? We come into the next relationship with all our baggage. And so, like I said, both parties have baggage. I just feel like your baggage is that you would overgive, overdo, try and prove yourself too much. And this person like tends to pull away, shut down, block you out, go inward. So we can see like again how each other would trigger. You would trigger this person and they would trigger you. This is all about finding the balance, and this is something that's very difficult to do when we are in a relationship because there's a lot of emotions, especially here. It's like the relationships in the spiritual realm and there's passion. Well, it's like you feel like my person, you feel like home. I really like can see myself with you. So but then what happens is we don't realize that when we're in balance, we become a little bit obsessive. We become a little bit when I say like too focused on the relationship, and that creates overstimulation. There's actually a fear that happens because if you have fear of abandonment, which both parties do, and then you become so engrossed with it, like I said, you're trying to protect it. That is actually the focus is on losing it, and you wind up losing it, even though you're like, no, I'm trying to save it, but you're trying to save it because you think that you're going to lose it. So the underlying energy is what you wind up manifesting, which is the truth. And so this relationship is all about finding balance. There's, there are messages being exchanged through music and movies. Listen carefully and trust what you hear. I feel like your person was not really a spiritual person before. And maybe, again, if you didn't come from a place of really feeling nurtured and loved or feeling supported, because again, abandonment is that. But it had to come from somewhere for you to continue to manifest and for it to be in this relationship now. Then, love is the language of the universe, is a language of God. which is ubiquitous because the universe is God, and that energy is also inside of us. It's of unconditional love. So it's again, the relationship is bringing you both back to love through the fact that there is such a strong spiritual connection. And like, so the divine is actually helping this relationship. And it's not that I feel like your person is like a spiritual person, even. It's just that they've noticed coincidences because they don't feel safe within relationships because relationships don't normally work out. So again, there's a sense of feeling like I'm on the right track. My intuition is leading me. But this person, like I said, doesn't normally tap into that part of themselves. It's like they see there's a whole language there, there's a whole synergy that's happening that don't have control over. And believe me, when you're wounded, you want to control. This person wants to control. That's why it said both parties actually want to control because both parties have a lot of wounds. But like I said, I feel like there's a spiritual element to the relationship where it's intuitive. It's not logical. And the reason why is because the wounds are held within the subconscious mind, the reptilian mind. So spirit doesn't want either person to overthink. Spirit wants both parties to be led through their heart and their gut, what feels right. But in order to get to that place, they need to surrender and not control. So spirit is helping both parties heal. I'm praying you'll come back after everything that's happened between us. I worry that you won't forgive me and allow me another chance. Well, this person has fear of abandonment. So, of course, they, again, whatever they do you love me? You love me today, but will you love me tomorrow? Because, again, the way that they grew up, and it's the same way that you grew up. There were conditions, and that's how it was perceived. If I was good, I got love. If I wasn't good, I was ignored, or they weren't around. There wasn't enough money. There wasn't enough, so it wasn't all the time a malicious, abusive thing. Sometimes it's like they was just consumed with their own trauma that they couldn't emotionally be there. So it's again, not all the time. It doesn't matter how the abandonment came. But with these scenarios, nevertheless, the wound is abandonment, and how it continues to play out is we're always waiting for the shoe to drop. And then when something does happen, there's a sense of not being forgiven because the way that we grew up, there were consequences. Forgiveness just wasn't, it wasn't that things went back to normal. It was that, when there's imbalance in the home, and there's problems, and what happens is instead of the parents dealing with the real problems, they tend to project their anger onto the act of whatever the child's done, because that's just how people again deal with stress. They project, and with their own problems, their own wounds that they don't want to heal because they don't know how to heal. And so, like I said, your person has like fear. So this is the underlining energy, but we want to look, and we have to look and see, well, what did they do? And sometimes it's not even that much that they have to do. It doesn't always have to be like cheating or that. It could just be something stupid, but nevertheless, the person still is like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's like, will you love me today, but will you love me tomorrow? because there's a sense that, again, they haven't healed whether they love themselves enough, right? I mean, that's really how we heal abandonment. We have to learn to love ourselves. The relationship that comes into our life helps us love the wounded parts of ourselves, the parts of ourselves that we don't know how to heal because we detach from them, we've rejected them. So let's see what your person did. Too risky. So again, they were reckless. So they, I feel like they didn't really want to settle down. I feel like they were reckless as in like almost like acting like they were um younger than they were. Like I feel like I know that sounds stupid, but it's almost like I feel like they were going out to like bars and clubs and drinking a lot and driving and acting like they were still like in high school. It's like things that you would do in high school, things that you would do in college. Like like it's almost like this person never did that. And I feel like they didn't do that because there wasn't enough money when they were brought up. So they lived very restricted and very, and kind of like in fear. And so there's a sense that now that they've, made money and they're a business person, that now we're going to live that life where again, overindulgent, like, but it was like party time. Every day was party time. And that is risky behavior, not just within what it does to your health, but also what it does, like, I mean, to your career. If you're not, if you're drinking a lot and spending it out and you're spending all this money, you're not really thinking about your future. You're not, and creating a lot of confusion because they didn't really know what they wanted. I feel like this person, the risky behavior also is a persona. It's like this person doesn't, when you have abandonment, there's a sense of not liking yourself, believing that you're not likable. That's really abandonment, is that we actually don't show up for ourselves. That's why abandonment manifests. It manifests first because we perceive that our parents aren't there and like again and have abandoned us because of whatever they were dealing with. And then what happens is emotionally we don't get what we are seeking from the partner that we're with, so we perceive that they have abandoned us. And so those type of relationships that keep projecting the wound onto each other become very toxic, as I was saying, like if not healed. So this person has had a string of toxic relationships because it's not all the time you're going to attract someone that you're so passionate about, someone that you have such a strong spiritual connection to. By the time spirit brought you and this person together, it was because you would be like, I could be by myself. Or like I can live out of balance. For a person just like I could live out of balance. I could be, someone that sleeps around, someone that like, compartmentalizes. I don't need to like have an emotional connection with anyone that I'm with because they don't want to get hurt anymore because they keep getting hurt because there's again abandonment keeps playing out, and so there's this confusion of that love is pain. So their way is, well, I don't want to seem like, I'd rather take on the persona that I'm a bad boy, a bad girl, that I'm risky, that I have like, that I play games, like I'll go off to Vegas and blow all my money, or I'll do something outlandish, and I take on this because it's much better than being confused and being afraid. But in it, it was avoidance. If I don't really want to get close, it's a way of me like again, and always like them, like when you would try to talk about it to them, always justify like what they were doing, and you were always like you're not really being honest. Like you're not really being, like you're reaching, like what you're doing is you're trying to manipulate the situation. Like I'm telling you what I feel. I'm telling you like what you're doing, and they would be like, no, I like, again, you're not, like making excuses almost, to be like, you're being paranoid, to trigger what they're trying to avoid within the relationship, but they're actually creating that situation in the relationship, which awakened your wounds, where there was a little bit of mirroring going on. So, like I said, I feel like your person like is so busy, like worried about the relationship not working out. They created the persona to make sure that it didn't work out. But then trying to fix it by justifying, and that's again made you not safe, feel safe, because you have your own wounds. You're like, I don't know what you're doing. Whether you want to be in a relationship, you don't want to be in a relationship. I am so sorry about the gaslighting. Please forgive me. I mean, listen, this person is in full of regret. They're like, I can't believe that I did what I did. So this is a very spiritual connection, like I said, because I don't think that they would care. I think that people that are wounded, um, when they don't heal, it's easier just to get into another relationship. This person, I feel like they might have tried to do it, but they just can't do it. It's like, look, I look down, I'm like, please be patient with me. And like this person is like, I don't really know how to navigate this relationship. I don't have good relationships. I don't know what to do. I don't know. Tell me what to do. They're almost like, would be better if you would tell them what to do, and possibly because this person will always wind up in relationships where they were told what to do. And so, and they would do what the person would want to do. But when you're doing what a person wants you to do and they're in balance, nothing's going to satisfy those people. And so there was a lot of, no matter what I do, the relationship doesn't work out, which is why this person was like, well, I can be in a relationship that I don't have an emotional connection to because it's safer. But then God said, oh, no, you can't. The universe said, it doesn't work like that after a while, because now you're not going to have any control over the situation. It's like, and now it's like it said, so the person tried to figure out how to be in a relationship without, you know, being vulnerable by gaslighting and manipulating. And what they saw is it's like you were like not having it. And now they're like in full regret because they're like, wait a minute, it's like I lost something important. I lost something important. And so, how else do you think God would let us heal, make us heal, right? We don't volunteer to heal. It's like when we've been wounded so much, we're like, no, I'm going to turn it in. I'll pass. It's like we don't volunteer. What it is that something comes along that makes us change. I mean, they find you incredibly attractive. They can't stop thinking about you, you know? Let's face it, that's what's happening right now. I mean, and also I feel like this person doesn't live that near, but you're always on their mind. So again, there is no time and space between love. It's like, and that's what it is. It's like this person can't stop thinking about you. They want forgiveness. So, some of you are going to be with this person, some of you aren't. But bottom line is, we have to say, why would you attract this person into your life? I think to heal, obviously, we just said it throughout the entire reading, but we can say, what are your specific wounds aside from abandonment? What what were the elements around abandonment? Um, I feel like naive, like due to your like not to be naive is good, but I also feel like you weren't taught. You weren't like there was a sense of like believing that your parents would be perfect is a thing of being naive. Being naive is not being educated about how the world is, that we're not, that the world is not heaven, that, we're born into karmic families, that our parents are just people, you know, that they're not perfect. There's an element that, like I said, we tend to be naive and think that, it's perfect, that like love, our parents is supposed to be perfect, that love is always supposed to look perfect, and and though it's not a bad thing, it was a bad thing when you got wounded over and over and over because of it. Protection, again, feeling like your parents should protect you, feeling like emotionally they should actually protect you too. But really, no one needs to give you protection except for yourself. And when I'm talking about really protection, I'm talking about the emotional, psychological protective, because our relationship traumas that mostly play out, it's not that physical abuse doesn't happen, but the majority is psychological and emotional. And so again, and naive is you're just like haven't experienced enough, haven't lived the world enough, and haven't been taught. And dance. And dance to me is you got to learn how to go with the flow. You got to learn to listen to the rhythm of the music, and and you don't change it. You got to go with the flow. It's like, and that is more of a thing again when you're strong within yourself. You don't need protection. Protection comes from the fact that spirit, God lives inside of you, and only in the now do you get divine guidance, and that your intuition leads you, that you again are continually like dancing per se with the universe. You're always co-creating with the universe through the thoughts that you think and the emotions that you have. And it's about you again being able to now take the element of naive, right? Which is almost like a childlike energy. It is like that energy of when children are naive, you can tell them whatever and they'll believe you. They're innocent. Well, it's to take to go back to that place by creating. And I think by playing together, they feel like you and this person like don't need to be so serious in their relationship. If this relationship is coming together to help you both heal. That's why it's here, because neither one would be in a relationship. It's almost like the divine has led the connection. It's like because both parties have no control. They both want to surrender. They don't know how to surrender. They're learning how to surrender, but not just for union, but to heal themselves. And so, what Spirit's saying is the best thing is for both to play together, because when you are co creating with the universe, how do you do that? It's through, again, the thoughts that you think, the emotions that you have, but how does that happen? Through going out into the world and exploring. Both parties have wounds. How do you heal those shadows? the last part of healing the shadows is the actual integration part. And the only way to integrate the spiritual lesson is to do different things. So, again, when you go out and explore and you go out and you play, you find yourself and you rewrite the script in your mind, the unconditional love for you that you have for this person has for you, is to help learn partnership, unconditional, everything that stems from unconditional love, forgiveness. That's number one. Number one is unconditional love. Number two is forgiveness. Number three is compassion. Number four is empathy. You know, courage to go out in the world, have the courage to go out into the world and find yourself. But you have this friend, this person that actually loves you unconditionally. They don't have any control over that. It doesn't mean that you don't awaken wounds inside of them. You do, but they actually love you that much that they're willing to sit there and and work through them, and through the art of playing together, that without, as I said, these demands of what the relationship needs to look like like where there needs expectation, there is no expectation. The relationship brings you back to unconditional love. No expectation, no ownership. It just is. But it's about bringing you both back to yourselves to learn what unconditional love is. And that only happens through finding yourself. And so Spirit has brought the situation in so you won't be alone. And so that this person won't be alone. I'm going to leave that there, Virgo. You let me know how you resonated with this one, and I will see you soon. I just wanted to pull this before. And this is, I didn't know which card I was going to pull, but again, I was asked Spirit, again, what is the last, bit of wisdom you can share in that, about the connection? And the connection is to help you return to the heart, to manifest love, because love and light, right? And that's the highest energy, spiritual energy, to bring you back to unconditional love, the energy of God, which is that light energy. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.